Hey, this is Coach Ryan with VG Sports, and now we're going to talk about equipment needs. Now, everybody knows when you play football, you all need equipment. And a lot of people think that, hey, all I have to do as a coach is come out and coach. But sometimes you may need some assistance with equipment. And I'm not talking about the basic equipment needs, football, helmets, and shoulder pads. I'm talking about cups for the kids. I'm talking about cleats, socks, things of that nature for these kids that we coach. So ways that you can go about getting adequate equipment, because nobody really pays attention to that until the end. Oh, another thing that's a major pain during this football season are mouthpieces. No matter how many times we give out mouthpieces to the kids, they seem to lose them from the time the game ends until next Saturday when we play again and we're doing an equipment check. And you know you can't have your children out on the field without any mouthpieces. We won't even allow them to go out to play. So here are some things that you can do to actually make sure that you are prepared for equipment. All right, fundraising. Fundraising needs to start when you start your season. All right, and it's specifically for things like equipment, like having cleats for the children. You know, some kids may have cleats, others may not. So there's a way for you to supplement, so to make sure that all of your children have that. Just come up with an equipment fund. Have a fundraiser for equipment. You want to provide shoes for all the children on the team, and you want to make sure that they all wear uniform shoes. That's something that you can throw out there for fundraising. Simple fundraising. You can have coupon books. A lot of people already know about the 50/50s. So what you really need to do as a coach or a first-year coach, a veteran coach, work with the organization so that everybody's on the same page with bringing in funds for equipment. Busing, all of that stuff is a part of your equipment. You need to be able to get where you need to go in order to play, and you can't worry about that at the last minute. These are things that have to be thought out ahead of time. Outside of coupon books and 50/50s, you can do things like car washes. You can have, like a family barbecue day and just have everybody come out and cook out and sell dinners, things of that nature. So make sure that you are thinking outside the box as far as when it comes to coaching. Your job isn't only dealing with things on the field. We have to deal with a lot of stuff that's off the field. And even though equipment means, equipment is a part of your players being able to actually play on the field, it's something that's not really thought of up front. I've had kids come to practice in tennis shoes, all right, and try to play on a dirt field. And you can't have any footing if you have tennis shoes on a dirt field, especially if it starts to rain a little. Kids are slipping all over the place. So you want to prevent injuries, you have to make sure everybody is equipped right. I've had kids come out without mouthpieces. Even the day of the game, we're on the bus and we're saying, hey, we need a mouthpiece check there. Everybody have all the pads they need. You have your hip pads, you have your tail pads, you have your mouthpiece. Oh, we get hands all over the place from kids saying they don't have mouthpieces. So what we'll do is we'll have a coach or a friend of a coach run out real quick and grab some mouthpieces from a local sporting goods store and meet us wherever we're playing. So in order to prevent stuff like that from happening, you should make sure that you address that stuff early. Make sure you have yourself a checklist of equipment that's needed that isn't looked at as primary. Like I was saying, your helmets, your shoulder pads, those are necessary. You're not gonna mistakenly forget about that. Your hip pads, your tail pads, things of that nature, you need to make sure that's also accounted for as well. For some reason, kids lose those. So make sure that we have those 5-piece, I think they come in 5-piece packets, where you'll get a cup, you'll get 2 thigh pads. No, I'm sorry, you get the 2 thigh pads, you'll get your girdle, and you'll get the 2 hip pads in your tail pad. So make sure you have money set aside for that. Make sure the kids have money set aside for if you want to have like a practice jersey or things of that nature. Make sure you have some money set aside for that, money set aside for cleats. And I keep saying money, so that's why you have to make sure that you have a fundraising campaign in order to help offset some of this. Or what's going to wind up happening is at the beginning of the season, when you're telling the parents that, hey, it costs $50 or $60 to have your kids play, and that's going to include this and that. You know, so I don't know how much your league fees or your team fees cost, but so that you don't have to put additional fees onto the parents, let them know, hey, we want you guys to be a part of our fundraising. We want you to be a part of the football family. Help us raise some money so that we can make sure that we have your kid properly equipped so you can go out here and have a good time and enjoy playing football. So again, I just want to really stress the importance of you preparing to be adequately equipped, and that means the little things as far as the mouthpieces, your regular football cleats that kids need to come out to the field with that everybody just doesn't have. So we want to make sure that we have that. If you play in a league where they allow screw-in spikes, make sure that you have a fund or some fund set aside to have replacement spikes. Spikes probably wear out after 2 or 3 weeks. You need to be changing out spikes so they don't get stripped down. If they don't allow you to have screw-ins and you have to have the molded spike, then fine, keep the molded spike. You won't have any problems with that. But again, we want to make sure that we have the main equipment that I see come game day that's always missing are tail pads or mouthpieces and hip pads. So and again, some kids even come without cleats. So make sure you have something set aside for cleats, mouthpieces, tail pads, and hip pads, and everything will be okay.